In this update, we literally go from this to this over the next 10 days as huge changes are on the way with an Arctic blast for October standards promises to bring some of the coldest temperatures so far this season. And I'm also super excited about sharing that I now have my own POW Weather App. I launched this about 3 days ago. You can literally have now POW in a pocket, and I'm already trending #2 among some of the top weather apps out there. And you can actually have this for yourself. You can find it on the Apple App Store as well as Google Play. So you can go to those two app stores and download it for yourself, or you can go to this easy link that I created for you that I'll have in the description below, so you can easily click on it and get it on the phone yourself. And let me know what you think of the new POW Weather App. So let's talk about the details right now. And here's the satellite picture. What sticks out like a sore thumb is Hurricane Norma. Now, Norma, gosh, it went from a category 4 just yesterday. Now it's downgraded, but it's going to be dangerously close to Cabo San Lucas, and it's actually slowing down. So definitely be on high alert if you live within that area or have friends and family, because this system not only could be packing some pretty intense winds, but very heavy rainfall with the very slow moving nature of this system. Really, for a good part of the country, they're experiencing some pretty nice weather for a good part of the country. It's hot though, it's definitely hot. And you got some high clouds trending into portions of Texas. Where you do have some elevated rain showers is across portions of Ohio as well as into Pennsylvania, but especially back into the Northeast again, into New England, where yet another wet weekend is in store. So for areas within the Connecticut region, back into Rhode Island, places like into Vermont, New Hampshire, back into Maine, they're still getting some of that heavier rain. We're talking 1 to 3 inches of rain this weekend alone. So let's break down the details and show you what's happening really on the kind of the bigger picture. Here's Norma. So you got Norma hanging out in the Eastern Pacific. You've got this trough. It's still bringing the instability across the Northeast. This is going to be shifting out into the open waters of the Atlantic, and that's going to be replaced by cold temperatures on the backside as you clear out. Then the rest of the country, the central and eastern western portions of the country, are experiencing plenty heat for the next couple of days, while we're waiting for this system up here into the Yukon, Northwest Territories, starting to build. That's that cold pull of air. Will eventually going to be sliding southbound, but it's going to be taking all week long. So right now we're going to be watching this system down here into the Eastern Pacific and the also Western trough out here off the West Coast. That's the system that's going to be moving eastbound, creating the lift along with the remnants of Norma, bringing heavy rains across the central US and parts of the South. So yeah, definitely beneficial rainfall on the way. So here's that short wave coming in on Tuesday. So that's a pretty significant dip. That tells you that some sort of like El Nino type dynamics finally kicking in, with a western trough digging that far south all the way down into Baja of California. What that's actually going to be doing is, right now Texas is getting some of those high cirrus clouds. They're kind of like moistening up the atmosphere. No rain out of those clouds, but it's got to have some sort of lift. It's waiting on the lift mechanism, and this is where the lift mechanism is. It's going to be coming in off the West Coast. So by Tuesday, it's going to be digging all the way down into the Baja of California, and now it's going to be providing much needed rain showers originating in portions of Arizona, actually into New Mexico, that will extend into West Texas as well as the Texas Panhandle. So here is the setup on the surface map. That's Tammy. That is Tammy out here in the open waters of the Atlantic. That's not going to affect anybody, but it's still yet another storm. In fact, they've had 20 named storms. This is the 4th busiest hurricane season on record, and we still got another 5 weeks left to possibly get another name or two out of this hurricane season. But all eyes will be trending up into the Pacific Northwest, especially in the Northwest Territories. Look at that. That's a 10, 41 Arctic high pressure. That's definitely the coldest temperatures we've seen so far. And this is Arctic air, folks. It's going to take its time to plunge southbound, but once it has a little bit of legs, of course, the Canadian air is going to modify, but still it's pressed to bring the coldest temperatures so far, we've seen. And further south, we got to talk about some rain, because look at the Jetstream. That's lit up, folks. We haven't seen this in a long time, that the Jetstream's pulling all this Pacific moisture, going to be dumping it inland. And you got the lift mechanism that trails behind it too. So you got the 1-2 punch with the remnants of Norma, and then you got the Western Trough with the shortwave on the backside and a steady southern flow. That is the recipe for very beneficial rainfall across the middle of the country. Look at the water vapor transport setting shop across portions of Texas, into Oklahoma, into Kansas, back into Missouri. These areas should pick up definitely some beneficial rain, not just a one-day wonder. We're talking several days over these areas, where it could be looking at some heavier rains at times, as we got an abundance amount of moisture to be working with across this region. So definitely, as we turn the page on Tuesday, we're going to have those daily rain showers, if not some stronger thunderstorms. And that's exactly what the Climate Prediction Center highlights on that 24th and 26th time frame. Really, embedded thunderstorms with that heavier rain across central and north in the Texas Panhandle, as well as into Oklahoma, into Kansas, going into Missouri. Down here in the southeast, you stay dry, and in fact, you stay dry into the northeast. Once that system moves out this weekend, you'll get that drier air in the backside with the colder air, and as you clear out, yes, we're looking at some frost and freezes across this region of New England, back into the mid-Atlantic region, and even portions of Ohio, back into southern portions of Michigan could see some frost and freezes heading into the next couple of days, once that system moves out into early next week. So if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily content on this channel, and I would love to reach 225,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you can help me get there by subscribing and following all my daily breakdowns. So here's the setup going into Thursday. So we still got that system further south. We still got the warm southwest winds, very, very kind of humid for October standards. But there is some of the colder air, some of that Canadian, Arctic air entrenched coming in out of Canada and plunging southbound. So those areas, we're talking 25, maybe 30 degrees below average temperatures for this time of year, as there's going to be a sharp gradient and a good 30 to 35 degree drop of what you're seeing southbound and what you're seeing under that Arctic high pressure. And that is going to be producing more heavy rain going into that 26 time frame. Now that into that Thursday time frame, we could have a swath of heavier rain across central and north Texas, through that Oklahoma region, through the Kansas region, back into Missouri here, into Iowa. And then it's going to be starting to be cold enough where snow is going to be starting to fall out of, not just out of the mountain regions, but even some of these areas in the lower levels now, as that snow line will start to drop, as some of that cold air in the higher latitudes will start to funnel down further off into the surface. So some of these, yes, you're going to be seeing kind of a bona fide snowstorm really starting to take shape across this region. So there's into Friday. You still got that system, kind of daily rain showers across this region, still setting up shop. Some of these actually could turn severe in the afternoon hours. We'll have to watch these back into, say, potentially North Texas, back into central Oklahoma, say in the Oklahoma City region. And then there's the colder air still up here into the Pacific Northwest. The reason is because this shortwave, now this is the setup on the 500 millibar. You always got to look at the atmosphere in layers. This is about 17,000 feet up in the atmosphere, and this is a shortwave. So a lot of times this acts like a little blocking mechanism from what's coming in from the northwest. So it's got to be able to clear this out. It has to move out to allow this colder air to funnel southbound. So that's why it's going to take its sweet time. So it's not happening Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or even actually into Saturday. This system has to move out. But by the time we go into that Sunday time frame, it's going to lift northbound enough to where some of that colder air will be able to funnel further south. So this is the look at now 850. That's 5,000 feet up. So that gives you an idea. Now that colder air drops from 17,000 to 5,000 feet, and it starts to buckle. When it starts to buckle like this, that has legs, folks. That has less. Basically, the runway is clear. The system's moved out. The runway is clear now to head southbound. And that's exactly what's going to happen as it starts to pick up steam headed into that Sunday time frame. But underneath it, further to the north, that's when we got that bona fide snowstorm to start to produce some heavier snows, essentially from the Rockies to the north central US. I think that's where the snowstorm is essentially going to be. So there's going to be a swath of heavier snow coming in out of Idaho and Montana back into Wyoming, going through portions of the Rockies, and then swinging northwest bound, impacting northern portions of Nebraska, especially the Dakotas, into northern portions of Minnesota. I don't actually think it makes it to Wisconsin. They'll be on the rainy side, but that, as of right now, looks to be where that snowstorm will lie, as we get into the middle to end of this upcoming week. But once this Arctic air has legs, folks, you're going to feel it in a big way. These are actually wind chill temperatures as we extend going into that October 30th time frame. So all these areas in purple, that's your single digit, what it feels like to the body. And I put these on here because that first initial blast of that colder air, you're going to feel it because your body's not like acclimated to the colder temperatures. We're not in the middle of winter. We just got through summer. So this is our first stronger cold front we've felt so far this fall, and you're definitely going to feel it even more so than what you would when you get one of these stronger fronts later on down the line. So you're definitely going to be feeling this as huge changes are going to be on the way, and they're going to be felt by a lot more people as we extend through the weekend and going into the early next week, heading towards Halloween. So as we go, and then that's where your cold front's going to be. So there are going to be added rain showers along this cold front as it continues to produce, maybe squeeze out some more snow showers, maybe even in the Denver region, going to that Monday time frame, but heading into Halloween. So this is kind of your early look of what Halloween looks like. I know a lot of people have plans. You got trick-or-treaters out there, and then you got costumes to wear, right? So hey, what am I gonna wear? It's been plenty warm across the US. What's my outfit? Well, this kind of gives you an idea. I know it's warm now, but what's gonna happen towards Halloween? Because you got to prepare ahead of time. You got to order these suits, you got to make the suits, you got to make the costumes, and so this is what it looks like. So this is the feels like temperature as you wake up on Halloween morning. Yeah, all those areas in the 20s wind chills, back into the 20 wind chills in Oklahoma, even into Missouri, back into Illinois, even 30s all the way down here into central Texas, what it feels like to the body. So that's going to be a massive change of what you're seeing now. And by the time we get into your trick-or-treater time, about 7 o'clock, most of the country is going to be feeling this colder air. So a good part, it's a chilly Halloween, folks. Definitely be prepared for a chilly Halloween. So if you're picking out costumes, I'd pick out one that's definitely on the warmer side, that has a lot of cushion to it, because you're going to be feeling this front. And if you want to be enjoying the festivities, you got to be bundling up under that suit as well. So here's the rain swath over the next 7 to 10 days. And this is definitely some beneficial rain. I showed you the combination of the remnants of Norma. You had the western trough on the backside, and they got that steady Steady subtropical jet stream. That's the recipe for just beneficial heavy rains across Texas into Oklahoma, back into Kansas, through Arkansas, into Louisiana. Notice the dry slot in the southeast. I'm not ignoring you. It's just not much happening for the southeast. So just enjoy the nicer weather. So you got that rain just to the north of you. And even in the Pacific Northwest, we're talking just areas around in the inland, the coastal regions. Once you move inland, a lot of that's actually going to be changing over to snow, and definitely in some higher elevations. And then as that colder air will funnel to the surface, drop that snow line further south. So right now, look at the snow swath for the next 10 days and where that snow line is going to be. Diving in from the Intermountain West, stopping towards the Rockies, and then lifting northeast bound, heading to the north central US, heading up to Minnesota, probably missing Wisconsin, and then maybe ringing out some dusty snowflakes further south. But this is where the main snow swath should lie between now and Halloween. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I do like this video, and definitely check out my winter forecast after this update, and catch my next update where I protect you before and after the storm.